up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Rundown, the Juneteenth episode. Hallelujah, Juneteenth. It's been a lot of things that have been going down since our last episode, and we about to recap it all. I mean, we had the cryptic, information with JJ, the mini Texans minicamp, all of these different things going down. But shout out to my co-host in the building. It's your boy AD, and we got C Roll in the building. We got Mike G in
What's
the
up?
building. What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good,
Good,
good.
man. Happy Juneteenth celebration.
Happy Juneteenth,
Happy
man.
Father's Day,
Celebration.
too, man. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, Chris, fathers don't get that shout out, man. And
Yeah. I got
you
to
know,
cook tomorrow.
yeah, that's why I'm like fathers do more on Father's Day than they do any other day of the week, any other day of the year. They they work more on Father's Day than they should, on a regular day.
Yeah, my
So
wife asked me, what are we doing tomorrow? I say, not barbecuing, but of course I got to go barbecue. We're going to pick the meat up
hey,
tonight.
shout out to the fathers, man. Shout out to everybody that's celebrating this Father's Day weekend, especially those that no longer have their fathers with them, me included. So this holiday is a little difficult for a few. So shout out to everybody and happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth. Let's go ahead and get started with the episode. Representing Tecate Texans today. Y'all see it, Tecate?
Hey.
Got they Texans. Let's talk about it, man. The cryptic tweet that was supposed to came out June 12th. They was, making it seem like it may have been like a uniform thing. Everybody was speculating, oh, we about to get the red helmets. Typical Texans. JJ Watt
Mm.
is going into the ring of honor. And everybody had a mixed feelings because you had your JJ supporters and you had your people that was just like, I don't really fuck with JJ. So, what are y'all thoughts about the Ring of Honor? And I'm gonna give my hot take at the end. But y'all, what are y'all thoughts about JJ going into the Ring of Honor?
Hey, go ahead, Mike.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought, or at least 24, 48 hours before it happened. I was starting to think, I think it's going to be JJ News. So not a shocker to me. Obviously, Texans legend. Some people don't love JJ, but I it is odd that he's not gonna sign that 1-day contract unless he's wanting to come back and play. But I mean, he's a legend. So it makes sense for them to honor him.
Yeah,
Chris?
Chris, what you
Yeah,
got?
man. Listen, man. I'm one of the guys that's kind of on the. I'm not even on the fence with JJ. I support JJ. I think JJ was probably the best athlete that we've ever seen play for the Texans. He definitely produced more than any other player has as far as accomplishments and accolades. He was a monster on the field. I mean, you couldn't block him one on one. You damn near couldn't block him with a double team, and he ripped deep offensive lines apart. Um, he was a wrecking machine. He was everything that we wanted Clowney to be. He was everything that any NFL general manager would want their defensive end or defense tackle to be. He just made plays. His engine was high. He never stopped. He gave us everything he had for as long as he could. He stuck with this organization through the thick and the thin until it just got so bad to where things were falling apart around him and they were stripping the team out from underneath him and Deshaun. Um, I think what a lot of people don't like. Some of the people do like it. Some of the people don't. He's got a sort of an all-American personality to where he always is able to say the right things. He's coached up well on that, and even if he's not coached up well, he does a good job of always saying the right things. And some people don't like that. Some
He's saying
people think,
he's saying all the white things.
well, that too. There's a lot of folks in this NFL that love that. That there's a lot of people that look up to that. There's a lot of young white kids and white parents that enjoy seeing that for them because let's be honest, that's who they relate to. For the same instance that we relate to the black brothers that's out there, and they say the things that they say, how they say it. We relate to that, so you can't knock him for that. My thing about what he is doing right now is he's kind of leaving everything in the air, right? They asked
Mm,
him, does he want to retire as a Texan? And he says, what does he say as a quote to that? Um, I personally don't. I personally just don't really understand or see the reason for it. He
yeah,
says that it's more just a ceremonial piece of paper. I think that the Ring of Honor and all that comes with it is more than enough. Um,
yeah,
but it, but then he also talks about him staying in shape, and he's such in good shape right now that he possibly can turn that corner and come back and play. Um, is he giving us hints that he wants to come back? Who knows? But that's just the way JJ does it. You got to respect it. Some people might not like it, but you got to respect it, man. So
yeah.
I'm all for it.
So I got two hot takes. How about that? I'm gonna double up on it.
Hmm.
JJ Watt, the most, like Chris said, the most accomplished, the most, decorated Texan in Texan history. Um, Off and on the field. Um, has done wonders for the community. Some may not agree. Um, but JJ Watt has always been a spokesperson for Houston, always been a great representative of the city of Houston. You can't knock him for that. And kind of showing and spreading the love of Houston, Texas, wherever he's gone, and even on interviews like Pat McAfee and how he explains his love for Houston and how Houston, one of the best food cities in the world, in the United States, if not the world. So, shout out to JJ for all he's done for Houston, all he's done for the Texans, and it's much well deserved for him to be in the Ring of Honor. But the hot take one is that he's gonna be playing against the Texans while he's getting inducted into the Ring of Honor. He's gonna be playing with his brother TJ in Pittsburgh and go ahead and go put on that jacket on top of his Steeler uniform while he's sitting up there during halftime. That's hot take number one. the
If that's the first hot take, what's the next one?
Right.
next hot take is that JJ Watt will go in. I said this on a space, man. JJ Watt will go into the Hall of Fame before Andre Johnson. He will be the first Texan
Mm.
in the Hall of Fame. And I've said it and I gave my reasoning behind it is that if Andre Johnson is not selected in this next round of Hall of Fame,
Mm.
it will be a while before Andre Johnson gets into the Hall of Fame. So long so that JJ Watt, after 5 years, will get his inducted on his first ballot Hall of Famer, and JJ Watt will be the inaugural Texan in the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
So that's my hot. Those are my two hot takes.
Where the
But
fire truck noise at?
Hmm.
hey,
Ring the alarm.
let me say this, man. So, but I mean,
That's a
people.
good one.
I really got a lot of flack because people's like, "Ain't no way in hell Andre not gonna get in before JJ." Well,
Well,
it's been.
that's a good take, AD, because the simple fact is they have a big log jam at wide receiver right now going into the Hall of Fame.
Mhm,
Yep.
So a lot of those guys, was it Torrey Holt?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Reggie
just a lot
Reggie
of
Miller.
Marvin
right.
Harrison.
They're just waiting to get in, and they've been waiting for years. So does Andre done enough to pass them up? I think he has, but he played for, they call it a small market team, but it
Mhm,
just wasn't a winning team. And I think
mhm.
if we would have been more winners, than the people that make the decisions would have been like, well, this guy was at a Super Bowl, this guy was doing this in the playoffs, so it's a
Hey,
log jam of wide receiver. And if he like you say, if he missed 1 or 2 more years, JJ could pass him up.
well, I mean, even I think if he don't get in this next go around, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 5 or 6 years. I look at the Andre Reeds and how long it took him to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm,
Like it took Andre Reed almost 20 years before he can get into the Hall of Fame. So, and he was one of the
right.
at his and that time he was one of the top receivers during his time. You know,
Well, Andre was the type of guy, he wasn't a diva.
yeah,
So he didn't make a lot of ruckus and a lot of noise off the field to make people kind of remember him. You know, people attribute that drama stuff to production. Like that's why everybody talks about OBJ right now, even though
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't really produced as much as a lot of these other receivers.
Hey, I'm gonna
So
say this: OBJ ain't never getting in the Hall of Fame. I don't give a damn what nobody say. OBJ ain't got the stats. He ain't got nothing, man. He got them that one Super Bowl that he played one half in with the Rams. That's about his biggest accomplishment. And that catch on the sideline against the Cowboys on that
the
Sunday night,
one-handed catch.
that one handed
Mhm.
catch. That's his whole mantra of what OBJ has done. He ain't never getting in the Hall of Fame. Not
Don't
off
Mm.
that.
forget the fights with the Nets though.
Oh yeah, the man.
Right, he whooped that net ass.
Now that Nick got him a couple
Well,
times
the
too.
net did get him, didn't it?
Hey,
Yeah,
but I mean, I look at it like this, and you say that a small market team, but I look at the Detroit Lions. Calvin
Calvin, yeah.
Johnson
right.
just Calvin Johnson just got in. I think, and I say this a lot. I said this on the space too. When those players that been playing for franchises forever and ever, and they leave that said franchise, that hurts their stock. When Andre left
Mm.
to go play with the Titans and left to go play with the Colts,
Yeah,
those 2 years hurt his stock. If he would have just retired and not even tried to attempt to play those last 2 years,
right.
Hmm.
I think the case would have been a lot better for him. But that diminishes your stock. You
Yeah, your
know,
legacy a little bit. Yeah,
yeah.
and even get some fans to burn his jersey.
Hey, man, got you up there having to go apologize, man. Person. So I mean,
Come
hey,
on, DJ.
yeah, DJ. Shout out DJ, man. God dog. You know, hopefully him and Swan can make a love child. I don't know. Um, hey, but let's move on, man. We talk about JJ and his Ring of Honor ceremony. I think it's October 15th. No, is it? Is it? No, it's not October 15th. It's October 1st. I think it's October 1st.
The week of the Steelers game, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Steelers game October 1st. I think.
Okay.
I don't want to get it wrong. Hold on. Somebody fact check me.
Let's
Y'all in the
see.
comments, drop it down in the comments. What I got? What I got? Um,
Well, he deserves it, man.
yes,
I think all that he did. I mean, two 20 sack seasons.
Hmm.
That is off the charts, man.
I think he's the only one
there
that's
was one
ever done it.
that one season where he had like 5 touchdowns. His touchdowns look better than a lot of these receivers that's getting in the Hall of Fame. He
Hey,
caught that ball over the shoulder. He caught it, man, when Cleveland that game. And when he caught it, he kind of toe swag drag or whatever they call that in the end
Jack
zone.
Swagger.
And the referees were standing around looking at each other. And then they said touchdown, and that boy spiked that ball. Boom! I was like, yeah, man. That boy was the realest, man. That boy was the realest. Um,
yeah,
and he came to play every night. He
yeah,
came to play every night, and so he deserves the Ring of Honor. With the Ring of Honor, do they also retire the jerseys?
yeah. The
So
jersey is
that
gonna
means
be.
Andre Johnson's 80 is no longer available.
Yeah, that's why you've never seen anybody wear 80.
And this year, I think I seen on the roster, um, forgot the kid's name, the guy from the Patriots, the D lineman that we signed late. He
Winovich,
had who?
Chase
Winovich.
Winovich.
No, it was a guy that he was like the number one high school draft, high school prospect coming out of high school,
You
and he
talking about
didn't
Derek
do.
Rivers?
No, it's another guy they picked up real recently from the New England Patriots. Um,
That's the only one I know.
Let me see if I can find it for you guys. He had number 99 on the roster. If you look on the roster, so I
Yeah,
guess
they
he's gonna have to
don't have
give that
that.
number up.
That ain't happening no time soon.
Yeah, he's gonna have to unask that number.
October. It is October 1st. I'm sorry. I've been.
Is it October 1st?
Yeah, I was going down in Google Hell trying to find it, man. But it is
Yeah,
October.
man.
So yeah, let's talk about the Texans of now. The Texans had a mini camp this past week, June, what was it, 13th, June 12th through the or 13th through the 15th or something like that, or 13th and 14th,
I believe
those
so.
2 days in the Texans mini camp. Everybody showed up. You accept the players that were injured, like Kenyon Green, who's still battling a arthroscopic knee surgery he had this all season. Um, yeah, that's a hot topic. If y'all want to touch on that, we can touch on Kenyon Green. But the Texans had the mini camp, and lo and behold, CJ Stroud got the first team reps. Um, Everybody speculating, it gave the Davis Mills fans hope when they heard Davis Mills had took some first team reps. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Big Sarge on his podcast said it best. He said it on his Twitter line as well. Um, CJ Stroud starting, you know,
In
week one.
May.
It happened. It's happening. It's just a foregone conclusion. This is just the first sign. As much as D'Amico and Nick Casario gonna try to play defense and say that it's a camp battle and this, and that, what CJ Stroud showed in the rookie mini camp and the OTAs had, and for him to be, numero uno going into the mini camp. I mean, it's just a foregone conclusion that CJ Stroud is gonna be out starting quarterback week one against the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm not concerned. I never was concerned, but I think this kind of killed the hope of those Mills fans. And of course, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some reports going during training camp that Davis Mills took right with play the tiny violin, the world's smallest violin. Hey, so shout out to CJ Stroud for taking over, man. And it's been a lot of interesting nuggets that's been coming out of minicamp. But what are y'all thoughts so far of what y'all have heard from minicamp? Anybody that stood out, so far in minicamp that got y'all attention?
Go ahead, Chris.
Davis Mills. Yeah, man. Davis Mills, man. Y'all don't be hating on the. Listen, man. I'm a stand up for Davis Mills and the Mill sites of the Houston Texans fan base, and I'm gonna say, David. This is what I'm gonna say about that Mills situation. C.J. Stroud is a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming into a new system, NFL. He's got to learn his situation. He's got to learn the offense. He's got to learn players. He's got to learn timing. He's got to learn the playbook. He's got to learn a lot of different things, how to be a professional. I don't give a damn who you are. If you've been in the NFL for 2 years playing quarterback, you are going to be ahead of the curve when it comes to a rookie that's coming in. So
Yeah.
Davis Mills is going to know where to go with the ball more than a C.J. Stroud. He's going to know how to take the 5-step drops and the 7-step drops. He's going to know the different intricacies of being a quarterback that C.J. is just going to now have to learn. So if we're doing it upon face value, Davis Mills will look better than C.J. Stroud all the way up until week one. It's just the way it's going to be. Whether you dislike Davis Mills, which we shouldn't, or whether you dislike C.J. Stroud or you think that Davis Mills should start over C.J. Stroud. There's going to be a lot of those people that's pushing that narrative. But the truth of the matter is we have seen Davis Mills when the pressure comes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between being an All-American in practice and throwing all these darts in practice and making yourself look good when there's no pass rush, when there's no clock, when there's no defense coming at you, when there's no pressure of the situation. And we seen Davis Mills when he had to have that in pressure situations and he couldn't convert first downs. He couldn't
Mm-hmm.
complete passes. He was overthrowing people. He was underthrowing people. So, yeah, he's going to look good right now in practice, but I guarantee you when the pressure is on, there's a difference between those two. And I think we'll see that once preseason begins and once CJ starts to develop confidence in the offense. And like you say, yes, Davis Mills is ahead of the curve now, but by week one, CJ Stroud should start. So I'll just say that about him. We really haven't got able to see any of the D line and O linemen, right? Because they really don't have pads on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's we're not gonna really get a true evaluation on those, the defensive line, offensive line,
right,
until training camp.
right.
Um, to piggyback on what you said about Davis Mills, I'm gonna just throw this nugget that Sarge threw out there.
Mm-hmm.
He, from his observation from Big Sarge,
Sarge,
Big Sarge Sports at Big Sarge Sports with a Z.
shout out Davis.
Shout out to Big Sarge. He said from his observation, looking at it, Davis Mills is playing really well, practicing really well in training camp, due to the fact that the pressure is off.
Yeah.
That he's
Oh, did he
settling.
say the same thing?
Yeah, he said that he's
We'll
settling
see.
in. Yeah, he's settling in that backup role. Like he's comfortable there.
Right,
He's comfortable because there's no pressure to perform. Just go out there and do what you know how to do, and that's play football. And
right.
he, I think it's, a mentality thing for him. It's a mental thing for him. So hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, God forbid something happens to CJ for a few games, Davis Mills can come in and hold the ship. Um,
Be like the number
yeah,
one
be one of the
backup
bad.
quarterback in the league.
Hey, let's beat New England. As much as we don't want to be New England Junior. Let's beat New England Junior, and hype up these backup quarterbacks so people can go and trade for them, and we get
Yep.
capital a second round pick back for a guy
Right.
we drafted in the third round.
That's right.
you
Mm.
know, because people say, "Oh, Davis Mills this, Davis Mills that," or let him come in for a half or one game and light it on fire. And now all people remember is that one game. They forget all the shit he did the last 2 years. They'll remember that one game and say, "Oh, well,
Hmm.
he can do that. We just need to put him in one of them similar systems that's all over the league." You may get poached by Miami.
Right.
Miami may poach him. Say, well,
Right.
we can work with him because look what he did in the similar system in Houston. So I mean, that's my whole thing. Shout out to Sarge for that observation, but it
Hmm.
just piggyback and coincide with what you were saying, Chris.
Amen. Go ahead. I wanted to finish. So I wanted to go to another guy, but after Mike goes, go
Well,
ahead,
so
Mike.
y'all are saying that Davis Mills is next in line?
Well, just that next in line, he's the next one up.
Hey man,
They're neck and neck.
I was saying they say he got a neck above the other competition. So
Yeah, man. Well,
hey,
yeah. I mean, I guess to go to the next subject. Um, you was talking about minicamp people in minicamp. I've seen a lot of discussion being had and a lot of attention being paid to Nico Collins.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
I think I think his expectation year has arrived, right? And it's the size that he is at 6'5" or 6'4", the demeanor that he has, the strong build that he has, and the way that he looks on the field. Our expectations are for him to step up and be the next number one or top number two wide receiver. And so I think a lot of people are looking for him to be that guy for whoever's at quarterback. And every time I turn my head, somebody's asking, can he do it? Is he catching with his hands? Can he stay healthy? What is he going to do this year? Who is our number one wide receiver? And so Nico Collins to me is getting a lot of attention.
mhm,
Um, a lot of the other guys, I mean, a lot of the other receivers are too. Tank Dell, I think they're talking about. I think they said they're not going to really see John Mechie until camp starts.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those are some other guys that we're looking forward to. Robert Woods, I heard, is really taking leadership out there, which is
mhm.
good to see. He's moving freely. Is he practicing without a brace?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he didn't
He
play
doesn't have a
last year.
brace.
He didn't play last year with a brace.
Okay. So
Yeah.
see, that's great. That's great to know. What about some of the young guys? Have y'all heard some of the young receivers? Hutchinson.
They really haven't spoken a lot about those guys. You know, the opposite of not opposite of the spectrum, but the other side of the football, the guy they've been talking about a lot is Derek Stingley.
Right.
Derek Stingley has been battling and been showing up. He came in. Everybody's seen the video footage and pictures of Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley looks like he's gained about 10, 15 pounds of muscle,
Sure.
and
Mm-hmm.
he looks like a bigger, faster, cornerback, which is
Stronger.
scary, which is scary
Yeah.
because he's already like a big 6'1", 6 foot corner. And now he's coming in about 200 something pounds. So it's like, dude is coming in built, ready to go. And he's been battling all camp. Him and Nico Collins have been battling like crazy. And it's a
That's
picture
good.
on the Texans website, on the Texans Twitter line that they posted of Derek Stingley intercepting a ball thrown for Nico Collins. Derek Stingley, that I think that was the play that they were talking about. DJ and Aaron Wilson, all these other reporters were talking about it. Derek Stingley looked like he jumped 40. Was it? He
Yeah.
used all of that 40
40
plus
is
inch
vertical.
vertical. He
Yeah.
used all of that and got up and top, high pointed that football and intercepted it on the ball thrown and deep ball thrown to Nico Collins. So it's like, those type of plays and those situations. I feel like Derek Stingley is finally coming into his own and feeling more comfortable in this defense,
Yeah.
because this defense, I feel like D'Amico is going to highlight his secondary. And I'm gonna talk about that because D'Amico spoke about that a couple weeks ago, and highlight the secondary and how important the secondary is to his defense. And I feel like Darius Stingley is going to be one of the leaders on that secondary, along with Jalen Petrie, who also had a pretty good mini camp, and Jalen Petrie had a good OTAs as well. So it's a lot going on that defense, but that defensive backfield is going to be crazy this year. And we had a
Yes.
little worry with Steven Nelson, who didn't show up in the OTAs, but he was there for minicamp.
That's
So
good.
yeah, he that little contract holdout didn't last long.
That's
Um,
good.
but Mike, do you have any other players if we didn't touch them all that you kind of thinking of?
Stingley, I would say, just based off the little bit that we've seen and the reporting that hey, he's balling out right now. Obviously, D'Amico is going to know how to use him and not just put him in zone in the cover two, which is criminally underutilized last year. And obviously, the pass rush is going to improve, so that helps everything. And now we got Jimmy Ward instead of Mr. Ball, so the improvement is going to be there. My only thing with him this year, and I felt that way leading up to the draft, was can he stay healthy? And if he can
Right.
stay healthy, he's going to be a bad man in that secondary.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I
To be
said,
the
he gonna be
leader
a
of it.
bad motherfucker. That's what he gonna be.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
gonna be a
man.
bad motherfucker. Hey man,
I also heard. I didn't mean to interrupt you, AD. I heard they was talking a lot about Totoa.
yeah, Henry To'oTo'o is another rookie that has caught D'Amico's eye,
Okay.
um, and is really kind of showing up. He's ahead of the game as far as like identifying coverages, identifying, um, you know, all different things that entail in that position. And as linebacker, middle linebacker at that. I think
Right.
his knowledge of the game is advanced. Well, in my mind, it should be. Hell, he been playing for 15 years in college football. So I mean, he was like an eighth year senior before he graduated. So I mean, you know,
And
his
by the
Toa,
way, the guy.
how old is Toa? What, 23, 24?
I think he's 23.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see.
he better
And I
know.
was higher on him than a lot of people. I know Chris was
Yeah, I
a
wasn't
little
too high
down on
on
the
him.
pick, but I was
I ain't
telling him,
home.
no, man, D'Amico got his guy to develop, and that's what he did in
Right.
San Fran.
Right.
So I like the upside. I like that we have somebody there who can replace run away from contact Christian Kirksey.
Speak it,
Where you at? Where you at?
speak it. Hide and go seek.
Henry Toto, 22
Hashtag.
years old.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
22.
Erica, 22.
And
Hashtag say no to Kirko.
yeah,
Yes.
hashtag I do
Say
not like
no.
making tackles.
Hashtag
Yeah. The guy's name that I said that had JJ Watt's jersey, his name was Byron Court.
Oh, okay.
Court. The guy from we picked up from the Patriots.
He was
He has number 99. I'm pretty sure that he had to get that number back.
yeah, that ain't gonna last. I
Right.
think he a camp body anyway. He allowed to get cut for training camp. So
He was with
Yeah.
the Colts last year, and prior to
Was it the
that, it was in
Colts?
New England. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
he's gonna have to get that number back pretty soon.
but other than that,
Oh,
you
there's
talk.
one guy that had a horrible camp.
Mhm.
I
Who was
mean,
that?
so bad they let him go already.
Who was that?
It was the guy with the jukebox, the
Nick
coach,
Cray.
Nick
Nick
Cray.
Cray.
Huh?
Hey,
Was he
Nick
playing the
Cray.
wrong songs or something? Was he?
Hey,
What was wrong?
Nick Cray got a little too cray, man. They
He was
say
too cray cray.
he too
That
cray.
boy, that
They
boy
say
didn't
they
last a half of the off season.
look.
Damn.
Yeah, it's certain things that you can do with certain people,
Yeah.
and I feel like
Obviously.
yeah, the certain things that you could do with who was that John Lynch, the GM over there in San Fran. Is
Yeah.
John Lynch?
That's right, John
Yeah.
Lynch.
Certain things you can do with John Lynch that you can't do with Nick Casario. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Um,
Mm.
Was he criticizing the sweater vest? What's going on there?
Must be.
hey, they asked that question in the town hall. It's a perfect segue. Let's talk about this town hall that they had. Cause Nick Craig, that's nobody knows the details, but we could talk about this town hall that happened a few weeks ago with the Texan season ticket holders that I was able to attend with a couple other folks in our Texans Twitter, especially my co-host Jules was there as well. And wanted him to talk more about it because he was really excited about it. But it was a lot of nuggets and everything that happened. Shout out to our boy DJ. I don't know how he does it, but he always finds a way to make himself a part of the Houston Texans in some form and fashion. He asked this question about wanting to bring back Hopkins and Clowney and
Was it a
everything like
question?
that.
We should have
No,
had that on
he didn't ask
video
no
real quick.
question. Yeah,
We should
he
have had
didn't
that
have.
on video for everybody to see.
Yeah, he didn't ask no question. He just made some statements. But um, you know, other than that, man, there was a lot of nuggets that was brought in. D'Amico Ryans with his especially from D'Amico Ryans. I think he gave a lot of nuggets about the defense and what his expectations was and what the focus of the defense is going to be and how the defense is going to be constructed and everything like that. Nick Casario, one of the funniest quotes of the day, questions of the day was that they asked Nick Casario how many sweater vests he have on. Nick Casario, Nick Casario say I got about 12, man, in the closet. So Nick Casario rolling deep,
Mm.
man. That boy don't he take a bath in the damn sweater.
We know what he getting tomorrow for
Right.
Father's Day. Weather vest.
And Nick Casario got them all colors, man, all colors, rainbow colors.
Mm.
Um, but D'Amico gave a lot of nuggets as far as the defense. He emphasized the secondary. He emphasized his secondary, how he wants the secondary to be aggressive. He wants the attacking secondary. He wants his secondary players to always be around the football. Um, and he the way he talked about the secondary, kind of it kind of was a kind of a influence or kind of a certain way he said it to make it seem like the secondary was going to be primary on his defense. And if you
Mm.
look at San Francisco, yeah, they had great linebacker, yeah, they had great everything on San Francisco, but the key factors was that secondary. The secondary had one notable player, which was Jimmy Ward, who's with the Texans now, and I don't
Mm.
think anybody that's a Texan fan that's watching this can name those other defensive backs in San Francisco without Googling or
Right.
pulling
Yeah.
it up on their phone.
I mean,
Right.
So
Emmanuel Mosley, but he was hurt all the time.
right.
Right.
So, that
The dude,
secondary did wonders.
the
And
guy
they
with the Hawaiian name.
Oh yeah, Ufonga, yeah, and
yeah.
Troy Polamalu really mentored him too.
Mhm. Hey, so like I say, man, D'Amico Ryans, I think his defense is from top down, meaning from secondary all the way down to the defensive line, because they've had multiple injuries on their defensive line for the last few years, and they still been productive. What's up?
I actually think it's the other way around, is what he said.
No, no, no. I'm telling you what he said in the town hall.
I thought he said that it starts with up front with the front four.
He said it starts in the trenches.
Right.
He's about me, and that's when he was talking about building the team. And that
Okay.
question, when he answered that question, that was more geared towards the offensive line.
Okay. I thought he
Some,
was saying that his front four has to get to the ball, has to
yeah,
get to the
and
quarterback.
he said that about each position group. He talked about the
Okay.
defensive line, he talked about the secondary, and he talked about the linebackers and what they expect the linebackers to do.
Okay.
He expects them to be versatile. He expects players like he mentioned Christian Harris in
Right.
that linebacker room, and he expectations is high for them. So I mean, he mentioned what he's seeking, but when I say he emphasized the secondary, he talked about the secondary longer than any other position group on the
Wow.
football team, longer than the
Wow.
quarterback and everything. He did break down his defensive scheme. He did break down the defensive line alignment that everybody was been. Well, what type of defense is he gonna run? He's gonna run a
Mm-hmm.
wide nine where you have a wide nine on one side, have a five tech on the other side, a three tech, and a two eye. In football terminology, that two eye is a defensive tackle that's over the head of the guard, and the
Retake.
three tech is on the shoulder, on the outside shoulder of the other guard, and then the wide nine is as wide as you could possibly be on the line of scrimmage. Um, Outside of the tackle, probably outside of the tight end. If I'm thinking of it right, because I know you got
Mm-hmm.
the five, and the five technique is on that inside shoulder of the tackle. So it's gonna be an interesting defense. He broke it down, and hey, correct me if I'm wrong on my terminology, people. Y'all can put the comments down in the box, but I'm just reporting on what he said. Um, Other than that, though, I mean, he really talked about the quarterback position. And let me say this, man. We talked about Davis Mills. In this town hall that was about hour and a half, 2 hours long, Davis Mills' name was never mentioned.
Wow.
Neither by Greg Grissom, the what is it? I forgot what Greg Grissom
President
is.
of operations.
Yeah, President Greg Grissom, Nick Casario, D'Amico Rhines, Mark Vandermeer, the host of the town
Mm.
hall. Nobody spoke his name. The whole
Wow.
2 hours we were there. So if that ain't something, because it was multiple questions about the quarterback position, and none of them, nobody. They talked about Case Keenum, they talked about C.J. Stroud, but they did not talk about Davis Mills.
Sound like I
But
had a good time then.
oh, it was a good time, man. It was interesting because it was a lot of access that you normally wouldn't see. Of course, people ask these tough questions about, would you have taken Bryce over CJ? And can't answer that because everybody got their phone out recording it and everything like that. He gave the same political answer, but we had a group of players that we really liked, and in this group, and if one player
Yeah.
got selected, and we would have selected the other player, and this and that, and we feel like we got two players out of that group with Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud, and the typical Nick Casario answer. But it was a good time. It was access, and to be honest, they were open more than what I thought they were going to be. They were open to answer the questions of the fans, and there was some really football style questions. I mean, they brought up the offensive line. That's where D'Amico brought up. It starts in the trenches. How important the trenches are, and they've shown that by the sign. What is it? Re-signing Tunsil, extending Tunsil, extending Shaq Mason, drafting Juice Scruggs. He even talked
Mm.
about Juice Scruggs and how
Wow.
Juice Scruggs had been performing in rookie
Minicamp.
minicamp.
Okay.
And so how important that offensive line is, and the question I wanted to ask that we couldn't get up to the mic to ask, when is Titus Howard extension gonna happen?
Right. Everybody's getting extended except for
Yeah,
him.
exactly, and
What
he's
is
gonna get.
going on?
It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen. It's just a matter of time. But that was a good time, man. Anybody? that if you all have opportunities, if you have friends that are season ticket members, or you haven't gotten season tickets and you thinking about it, go ahead and get season tickets, because they're opportunities, they're things that happen begin before the season, during the season, after the season, that they do for season ticket members, and it's wild. I think last year they had a field day where you could bring your kids
Mm.
and play games on the field, and actually walk around the field of NRG and take pictures with cheerleaders and meet former players, and take, I think I met Trap Johnson there and spoke to him for a little bit last year, and it was in the middle of the season. So those type of events or kind of can't miss experiences that, if y'all not a season ticket holder, y'all may want to go ahead and join, sign up, become season ticket members, and enjoy the benefits, man. So
So is that something that the town hall meetings, that was that a one time off, or is it something that they're going to continue to do?
the way that it was represented, because it was over 2,000 plus people there.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's something that I'm pretty sure they're going to do over
Because
and over again.
yeah, because it seems like I don't know who's gotten in charge and who's gotten on
Hmm.
their side, but they've come up with the committee, the 50-member
Yeah,
committee.
Texan Fan Council.
Right, the Texan Fan Council, which I
Hmm.
think is another good step to bringing the fans back, is
Hmm.
hearing what is the word from the fan base. And then when
Hmm.
y'all had the town hall meeting, it's just a good way to present yourself as we care
Hmm.
about what y'all think. And
Yeah.
we want you to be a part of the team. We want to be a part of the community.
Hmm.
And I think they're doing a damn good job this year of trying to relay that optimism of being a being more bigger in the community, and this
Yeah.
being a part of the organization. So I
Yeah.
just really think that's a cool step. The
Hmm.
uniforms are coming. The way that they deal with the fan base is really growing. So I think that's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, one nugget before we move on to the next topic, that Nick Casario, because I know our homegirl Swan is gonna say something if I don't mention it.
Yeah.
How Nick Casario, because it was a lot of, like, obviously it was a lot of questions about DeAndre Hopkins. And they
Mm,
asked multiple times about, are we bringing DeAndre Hopkins in? Hell, even DJ made a statement about wanting to bring DeAndre Hopkins in. So it was a lot of statements made about it and questions asked about DeAndre Hopkins. And Nick Casario alluded to it's a two-way street.
mm,
As much because at the time it was saying DeAndre Hopkins really like Houston, wanted to come back to Houston, wanted to play with Houston. And Nick Casario made the comment it's a two-way street. So
mm,
basically, as much as he can want and his camp can want to come to Houston, the Texans made, it has to be a perfect, it has to work out for both sides. And the way he phrased it, it made me think that
Hopkins
the,
may not want to come here.
no, made me think that the Texans ain't offering that kind of money. Now, if he wants to come here and he's coming here on a reasonable deal, then for sure, you know.
I
But
mean, but
as far
if you just gave Malik Collins 20 million, I mean, you got to be willing to give him at least 10 to 12 million for the
yeah, that
caliber of receiver he is. And I don't think that's that much. I don't know if they want to disturb the young core of trying to see who we got, but
hmm
that would have been a great question I would have asked at the town hall meeting too, because I
hmm
think DeAndre Hopkins on this squad with our quarterbacks, with our offense, is something that we need. You're not going to find another one overall receiver anywhere
nah,
this year or next year. So
nah, and
yeah, to
I've
get
yeah, I've said it before. I said it on
somebody like
Space.
that who's familiar with the organization, yeah, go ahead,
Yeah, I
bro.
said it on. Yeah, I've said it on Twitter and on Spaces too. DeAndre Hopkins allows, and I think I said it on the last podcast. DeAndre Hopkins allows your receivers to develop naturally. Your John
Correct.
Mitchell, your Xavier Hutchinson, your
Mm-hmm.
Tank Bills, he allows them to develop naturally and not forcing them to be in a position where they have to do things that they weren't shouldn't be expected to do as especially later round rookies like Tank Dell
Right.
and Xavier Hutchinson, third and sixth round rookies, expecting them to come in and be your savior at the receiver position is just unrealistic. Um, Same thing with John Mechie. John Mechie has missed almost 2 years of football, and
Right.
expecting him to come in after battling cancer and
Make
tearing,
an impact.
injury on his hamstring and tore his ACL in college. His last year. So expecting him to come in and be your savior at receiver, unrealistic.
Right.
So it's a good thing that the Nico Collins and the Robert Woods have been showing up in camp, but DeAndre Hopkins would just take it to another level.
I agree.
But let's go ahead and move on since we're talking about the camp. I mean, you mentioned it a minute ago about Malik Collins got that contract extension along with everybody else. He got that 2 year, $23 million contract extension. He was going into his last year of his contract because last year he signed a 2 year contract. So this was going into his last year of the 2 year contract. He's getting extended for another 2 years. So Malik Collins will be here throughout the 2025 season. And he's getting 20 million guaranteed. It's a strategic move. I think we may need to get more into detail with it. Maybe wait for Texans Cap. Shout out to Texans Cap with a
Shout out,
breakdown
baby.
of that contract, because what we're seeing is that it's lowered the cap hit on the next 2 years, where it's only a $3 million cap hit next year in 24 and in a zero cap hit in 25. I don't know if that's based on the guarantees that he's getting because he's getting 20 of it guaranteed out of the 23. And, so they obviously Malik Collins has done something this all season. And,
And
and
it's showing here that they're void years too.
yeah,
In 24 and 25, there's a void year in each year.
I think
So I
that
guess
was, I think 24 and 25 were 4 years on his last contract.
I thought he was done. Oh, it was on his last contract.
Yeah, last contract, void years 24 and 25. Like if they were to release him this year,
Right.
they would push out that cap hit over the next two void years.
I
Which
didn't. I don't know why I thought he only had a contract for 22 and 23, and that was it.
yeah, that was his 2 year contract. But
Okay.
whenever they sign a contract, they always put in those void years.
I
So
got you.
like kind of spread out the cap if you release a player,
Okay.
then that cap will be spread over the, like if I think he has a $10 million cap hit this year. And if
Right.
he would have got released, that 10 million would have gotten spread over the last 2 years.
I love to see these athletes get their money.
Yeah.
Um, Malik Collins was a guy who came from Nebraska. I think he went to the Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't able to put his best foot forward with the Cowboys. They kind of ran a different type of defensive front where he had to mostly take on blocks to keep the blockers off of the tight end. I mean, off of the linebackers, and so he
Mm-hmm.
really couldn't excel because his the way he wins is one on one and getting upfield past the pass blockers. So once he left there, and I think he went somewhere else first, didn't he?
Raiders.
Went to
Yeah.
the Raiders, and then it kind of did the same thing. He got a little more freer with the Raiders, but once he came here with us, and even though Lovey's system was flawed in the Tampa 2 coverage, it still allowed for his front four to get after the quarterback. And I think that's where Malik Collins thrives. Malik Collins, freaking
Chef.
Rankins,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Rankins. Um, their game is one-on-one pass rushing from the interior. They're
Mm-hmm.
for to be such big dudes. They have quick hands and quick feet. What's the term we say? Violent hands
Violent hands and quick
and,
first step.
and an amazing first. What do you
wicked,
call it?
a wicked first step.
A wicked first step. Haven't seen that guy in a long time.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um,
But been
but yeah,
bam.
man, the way that they produce is getting off the ball and winning on pass rushing. I still think he's got to work on his run stopping abilities. clogging up the holes, stacking the blockers, making sure he doesn't get pushed, or making sure he's not guessing pass when it's a run play and trying to do your spin move in the middle of a run play. But I'm happy to see him get his money. I think he deserves it. It's I know him and his family are extremely happy to go from what they went through to go through this and then sign a contract and automatically get handed $10 or $20 million is life changing. Um, with that said, I play the devil's advocate here. Why now and why not Titus Howard? Not to say to pit them against each other, but just as a Texas fan looking at the scope of things, is this if I mean, are we going to get a Titus Howard deal done?
Yeah.
And why was the rush to get Malik Collins signed now? Were we afraid to lose him next year?
Well, I think, yeah, all I know is that I know it lowered the cap number this year and increased their cap total that they had
It,
available.
but it did. It didn't. No, it didn't. Ad.
It didn't.
No, sir. His cap number's still at 9.85.
It was over.
9.8 million.
It was more than that. At
Was
first,
it?
yeah, at first it was like 10 point something.
You
It
might
was
be
over,
right. It might have been 10.3 or something.
yeah, it was over 10 million. His
What
cap
you
number
think,
was
Mike?
I mean,
What's the end game for Malik Collins in the Texans?
I have to think that he's shown something over the last handful of weeks through the
Okay.
offseason program. Some leadership, I mean, you don't really get to see Lyman like really ball out in May or June, but
Right.
clearly D'Amico and Casario saw something. It's look, did we really want to go into next season needing to replace both starting defensive tackles? I mean,
Yes.
I understand it's a loaded class right now, but some of those guys are going to get deals between now and then. And, you know, you got a guy who already knows system who's still in his prime. He just turned 28 pretty recently. So, you know, he's not 34. You know, he's not Jerry Hughes age. He's still very props to Jerry Hughes last year, did good, but we do want some guys who are in their prime, and he's one of them.
Right.
And it's not like an outrageous contract. Like
Amen.
he needs to work on his performance as a run defender. And honestly, at this point, I don't think he's going to improve that much. But maybe D'Amico's system can help. But as a pass rusher, he brings it. So
He
you need that
does.
interior pressure, and he's pretty consistent with it. And like you said, it's a scheme that's built pretty well for him, much
Mhm.
better than it was in Oakland early on in his career and in Dallas. So it's a good move. And hey, it's not exactly a Nick Casario special. So since now
Right.
he's been here for 3 years, so
Right. Are
break
they
the trend.
broadening his horizon? What's going on, Nick? You
Nick
must be
heard, Nick
loosening
heard
up them
y'all.
sweater vests.
Hey, he heard y'all cry. He heard y'all
Yeah.
cry. Hey,
Yeah, but like so do y'all think Titus Howard is next?
yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion. Aaron Wilson tweeted it out, I think a couple weeks ago about Titus Howard and that extension is basically it's happening. It's just
Right.
the timing of it. And I think this will probably be announced closer to, if not after in the middle of training camp or closer to the first week of the season.
First week of the
When,
season.
yeah, when they announce it, but I think it's a foregone conclusion he's going to be here. They've been talking too much about Titus Howard for Titus Howard not to get an extension or be here after this year.
Okay,
Um,
talking about camp battles. Um, Hassan Ridgeway
mhm.
or Rankins
What you mean to keep?
starting.
Oh no, it's going to be Rankins and Collins.
Yeah.
Rankins and Collins.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just asking. Is there a battle going on, or are those two spots already solidified?
they solidified right now. I
Mhm.
feel. I don't think there's any the Roy Lopez's of the world. Sorry to see it, fella, but you heading on. Your walking papers have been issued. Um,
Wow.
you can salsa your way out the door.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
but
So
we
you say
talking about.
he needs to work on getting that CDL.
Yep, you already know CDL Lopez is, that's gonna be the name of his new company.
Oh
Um,
God.
but I'm gonna let Mike G take the floor because he wrote an article on Clutch Points about the four
Yeah.
camp battles, four camp battles that'll be interesting to watch for the Houston Texans. So go ahead, Mike. The floor is yours.
Mike
Yeah,
G.
appreciate it, AD. Yeah, um, it's not exactly camp panels, but here, I wrote an article at Clutch Points for Texans veterans whose roles will be pushed by rookies. So obviously, I know people are really hyping up the Nico Collins train. John Crumpler over at Texans Wire made an interesting, lofty comparison of him potentially being the Julio Jones of the Texans offense because of the Shanahan connection and how we want to utilize him. I think it's a little too much of a stretch, but it was a thought provoking piece. Um, but for me, I mean, I hate to really doubt anybody, but I had high expectations last year for Nico, and he just fell short of him. He got hurt a lot. Hopefully, third year's the charm. For many guys across the league, regardless of position, that does happen where third year they finally get it. Obviously, upgrading from Mills to Stroud should help, and the offensive scheme we have to expect will be better. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but there's a lot of high hopes there. Obviously, I think I'm probably pretty rare in this, but especially given that John Mechie's just coming back from cancer and a hamstring injury. I still think he's going to be our leading receiver this year.
Mm.
Mm.
I still think he's got that dog in him. I know there's a reason we went up and got him the way we did. And I mean, I know we traded up for Nico too, but I remember now. Look, I know people have given me criticism over
Mike,
the
is
last few
this
months
about notary?
about my mock drafts.
But Mike,
My,
we know why. We know why John Mechie is your camp crush right now, and it's all because
He went to
Roll
Alabama.
roll
Tide.
tide. That's right.
Roll Tide, baby.
I did have him going to the Texans in every single mock draft last year.
That's a lot of mock drafts there, Mike.
It was a lot.
Yeah, a lot of mock
Um,
drafts.
I knew that they'd like him a lot. Like his strengths as an instant separator. Like you look at him and you're like, this guy, how does he separate all the time? He's just so crafty as a route runner, catches everything in his path. Um, that play against Auburn, where it was a 2-point conversion, so it was for the game winner, and
That
he
whip
juked
route.
him out. Yeah, and
Right.
that corner's now on the Titans' second round pick, and he made him look silly.
Who he
And
did.
that's just a small taste of what we're gonna see. He may not, reach his full potential this year coming back from cancer, but the fact that we started seeing signs of him being healthy towards the end of last year is kind of what fueled my increased expectations in him. But also Tank Dell. I know you're a little low on Tank Dell. He blew me away at the Senior Bowl. Like he was
Who's
done
low on
at
Tank Dell?
AD, or at least for this year.
Hey, D, you low on Tank Dell?
No, now see, let me go
Uh-oh,
back.
he
Now
had
I
to look at
gotta
his
go.
line,
Statistically,
Now I
man.
anyway.
gotta, now I
Hold
gotta
up,
go and talk
JD.
about my hot take. Now see,
Oh,
here we
shoot.
go again. So let's talk about it, man. I've said I've been quoted. You can quote me on this. I've said that I don't see Tank Dell getting more than 300 yards this season. I don't see it. I see Tank Dell as primarily a special teams player at the beginning of the season. And then I see eventually during the season they'll integrate him more and more in the offense, and he'll see a lot more playing time in the second half of the season. But that first half, you're gonna see him punt returning, you're gonna see him kick returning, you're gonna see him do some gadget plays on offense, but you're not going to see him be out and about in routes. That's just me personally. Got Chris Son in the back. But that's my hot take on Tank Dell. It's not that I'm not high on Tank Dell. I'm not high on his Very like people have been saying that he's gonna get 1,000 yards or he's gonna get 800 yards.
And so you
No,
saying that hot take ain't cooling off now?
no, it ain't cool enough at all. Tank Dell gonna, I feel like he gonna do what I said he was gonna do, which is not get over 300 yards receiving. And I feel like I think he's gonna score more touchdowns on returns than he is catching the ball.
I
Um,
think they're gonna work him in.
yeah, they gonna work him in the second half. That's my hot take. It's not that I'm not high on Tank Dell. I feel like we talked about Nico Collins. We talked about Robert Woods. We've talked about, Mike just got through talking about John Mechie. So you have all of these different receivers, not including the Dalton Schultz, not including the Devin Singletaries, not including the Damian Pierces. You have all of these different weapons, and then you want to talk about Tank Dell. Like,
So,
let's, huh?
so you're expecting Nico Collins and Robert Woods and John Mechie to completely stay healthy all season?
Regardless,
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm on, Mike. That's why I want Hopkins. That's why I want Hopkins because Mechie is coming off of not even playing for 2 years. Nico can't stay healthy, and Tank Dell is like 125 pounds soaking wet. You know, and what are we doing here? What do we gotta? I mean, I don't know. I just think you need to add some for sure stuff to that room. There's some good talent and there's some hopeful, but like you say, I think I've got a good friend VT from Texas Fan Battle says that he doesn't believe Mechie is going to even play that much. And at first I kind of was weary on that hot take that he had, but it very well could be the thing. I mean, he's also got a hamstring issue already,
Yeah, but
and when
he's going to be ready for camp, though.
I know it, but that's the optimism part of it. That's being optimistic. The thing is, he is coming off of fighting off cancer. The
Mhm.
strength that it takes from your body and your muscles to fight that off, and then to come back to world class athletic sport, you're gonna face hamstrings and back strains and soft tissue situations that could affect them early on. Could it sit them down for a few weeks? And if you're gonna have that, I just think the smart thing to do, you've got a guy who's from here, who obviously wouldn't mind playing here, and all the only thing keeping you separated from him is a couple $1 million. Pay this guy to come in and be that guy.
Who's
I
that,
mean,
Chris?
of course, it's not my money. Of course, it's not my money. So yeah, just give him $10 million. It's all right.
Hey, Chris, I thought you said the only thing stopping them is a couple motherfuckers.
A couple motherfuckers, man. There's a couple motherfuckers that don't want him on the squad, and they pissing me the fuck off. No, go get him. Go get him. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna piss everybody off. If the motherfucker, if he signs, DeAndre, if you hear me right now, bro, come on this podcast and talk to us, man. Please, man, come on here and talk with us. The thing is, if he signs with Tennessee, and we see he signs for like $9.5 million with incentives, and he goes and because what's the coach over there at Tennessee?
Vrabel.
Vrabel don't give a fuck. He don't care. And if they say, "Hey man," Hopkins tells him, "Well, I don't really practice that much." You man, fuck it, man. We'll work it out when you get here, man. Don't worry about it, man. We're gonna make it happen. We gonna work it out. Don't worry. Come on, man. Sign them. Come on, man. That's what we need from D'Amico. We're gonna work it out. You're gonna practice a little more than what you didn't want to. I understand you preserving your body, but we need you, bro. Okay, and I think that's the smart thing. Because what are you gonna do? What is the worst thing that could happen if you bring him over here? Is you overpay him, and you got to cut Amari Rogers or Noah Brown. I
They
mean,
already good, man. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
you stupid.
Noah may make the team, but
You think Noah may make the team?
I
yeah,
like
I
both of
think he
those
makes sense
guys.
more to shoot with 5. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
really like both of those guys. I'm tell you another thing. The Hutchinson, Xavier Hutchinson, he's another guy that you like. You can see it when he runs his routes. He's going to be somebody. Maybe not just this year, but eventually he'll be somebody. There's another guy that I like, Jared Wayne, the
Mhm.
guy from Pitt. I think he's bigger and faster than Hutchinson. And I
Yeah.
think eventually, if you can hide him on the practice squad, he's going to turn out to be somebody. You know, and maybe that's what the Texans are thinking when they don't bring Hopkins in, is that we've got enough young guys and we need to look at. But the danger is going into this season and something silly happens for like half a season, you lose one of these receivers, and he's out there throwing to Robert Woods and Noah Brown.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that would be the smartest thing to do. I mean, it's it's kind of like bringing in, um, it's kind of like bringing in Shaq Mason.
Yeah.
Could we have done all right with our right guard? AJ Can wasn't horrible, but you bring in somebody that you know is a lot better. Here's another guy that I think is going to be a camp battle, and I got a question for you guys. Is what is his name?
Don't speak
Greg
to.
Little.
Oh, Greg Little. Yeah.
Offensive tackle. I think he was like number 3 overall pick or something, wasn't he?
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Or was he
Was it?
just first round?
I don't think
Mm,
he was drafted that high.
Coming out of Mississippi?
Yeah, I don't think he was drafted that high in Ole Miss, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
I could be mistaken. I thought he was like a real high draft pick. Um, but anyway, could he how does he work out between him, Deculus, and who else is the other tackle?
yeah, he was a second rounder.
Second
Yeah.
rounder?
Yeah. You're talking about dude who's been at right tackle for a couple
For
years
that?
now out of North
Greg
Carolina.
Little?
Right.
Oh, you talking about Heck, Charlie
Yeah,
Heck.
Heck.
yeah, heck,
Yeah,
yeah,
heck.
Charlie Heck, yeah.
Right. So what do we keep? 8 or 9 linemen?
I think they're gonna keep 8. That's the standard. They may
Yeah.
keep 9 depending on what what they do with the receiver room, um, and
Right.
the tight end room. Because I think they may only keep technically 2 tight ends, and then they have Andrew
Right.
Beck on the team as like the fullback hybrid tight end.
Tight
Yeah,
slash tight end.
so they may
Right.
only keep 2, maybe 3 tight ends instead of like I think last year we had 4. Um,
Yeah, we did.
'Cause we had OJ Howard, TQ, who was a Brevin Jordan, and
Mm-hmm.
what was the other guy?
Akins. Akins.
Jordan, yeah, the one who caught the pass.
Yeah, and Jordan Akins. But we had another one too before him. I think it was what's his name?
We had Shrek.
R. Claire.
Oh
Eau
yeah,
Claire, yeah, Anthony Eau Claire.
Anthony. Yeah,
So yeah, we had a lot of tight ends on that roster last year. I don't think we carried nearly as many. I think at the max we carried 3, with Beck being the 4th.
Okay.
Hybrid tight end. So that may be a where you can add a ninth offensive lineman. But to be honest, the sign of Greg Little puts a lot of question into Austin Deculus. What are they gonna do with Austin Deculus? Is Austin
That's,
Deck? I know he's
that's,
a rookie. I know he's a second year player, but is Austin Deculus showing anything worthwhile to not be a cut candidate? Because he was a late round pick as well.
that's
Or is
something that I don't think we're gonna know until camp, right?
right.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably a
Um,
roster bubble guy.
and
Mm-hmm.
and here's the crazy thing. So automatically, Jared Patterson is gonna make it.
Yeah.
He's a six
You don't have
round
any
draft pick. He's
yeah.
probably the swing guards slash swing center,
Yeah.
right?
You don't have any other interior. That's why I said before, that's why it was an excellent pick because you don't have the look behind your starters, your Scruggs, your Kenyon Green and your Shaq Mason. What is there behind them? Scott Quisenberry. you know, who
No.
as much as everybody talked about Scott Quisenberry, who else? I mean, Dieter that they signed from the Dolphins that didn't play in like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, like who is it that's backing these guys up? So you need somebody that is in case Kenyon Green can't stay healthy, in case Shaq Mason gets hurt. You need somebody that can step in and at least be serviceable. And I'm not high on Patterson at all.
Mm-mm.
I
Right.
thought he was. I thought he was. To me,
But his
what I've
versatility
seen,
offers that, right?
yeah, his
Yeah.
versatility offers that him being a player, but watching him in Notre Dame, especially that first game against Ohio State, oh my god. I thought I was watching what's his name reincarnated. What's the guy that retired? What's his name? Center. I can't forget him. Can't believe I'm forgetting his name. They just retired from the Texans. They quit last year.
Oh, Justin Britt.
Justin Britt. Yeah, I thought it
Right.
was Justin Britt reincarnated. Against
But
that.
he played pretty good the year before last
Yeah, the
Yeah,
year before
because he
last,
was kind of like a preseason All American type
he
guy.
he
was.
was
He was.
preseason All American, and he was the number one rated center. Because I remember
Correct.
us looking at it like, hey,
Right.
we got this guy Patterson that's gonna come in next year, and they what happened is that he started out as center last year, and then they moved him to guard.
Yeah.
And so he had good stats because he didn't give up a sack. I don't think he gave up a sack his whole time in Notre Dame.
Well, he's kind of
Um,
like Kenyon Martin. I mean, Kenyon Martin. Kenyon
Kenyon,
Green in the sense that he needs to get in the weight room.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you look at him, he
he's a
needs to
smaller
bulk
guy.
up a little bit.
Yeah, I think
I,
Kenyon Green, as much as
Man, what you got with
hey,
Kenyon Green, bro? They've been on your ass about Kenyon Green,
I don't
AD.
give a damn. Look, I don't care. Y'all
They've
can
been on
talk
your
all
ass
of it.
about Kenyon
'Cause
Green.
this is the issue I have. The
Okay.
issue I have is not the fact that people, say that he was bad. I don't have an issue with it. It's when you go and say he was so bad he's never gonna be good, and insinuate that we got to
That he's
replace him.
finished. That is over with.
Yeah, it's over with.
Yeah.
Like my thing is me, AD. I stayed back. I wasn't a part of the train that said get rid of Davis Mills after his rookie year. I never.
Right.
I was like, let's see Davis
Let's see
Mills
what he
play
can
it
do
out.
next year. Right.
Even now, I'm not a proponent of getting rid of Davis Mills. Even though I think it's going to happen eventually, I don't think that like you should just say here, give me a seventh round pick, a conditional seventh for Davis Mills, so I don't want him on my team. No, 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 no. And the same thing with Kenyon Green. I'm not writing Kenyon Green off. This man, I mean, we've said it before. This man was a All American, 2-time All American in the SEC in the country. First of all, a 2-time All American in the country,
Hmm.
and he was first team All SEC every year that he played in the SEC.
He
And
was
even as a
all he was all getting his ass bench pressed last year.
hey, but hold on. Now see, this is how I got. Hold on. Now see, I gotta defend him. I gotta defend him because of who he
Ah
played.
shit.
I gotta defend him because who he
Nah,
played.
I
Okay.
like Kenyon Green, bro. I'm just
Look,
messing with you.
oh, Chris, this is my counter argument.
Uh,
Who do you say is the best guard in the NFL right now?
who was the best guard? I would
Yeah,
say Nelson
Quentin Nelson from the Colts.
for the
yeah, he
Colts.
had a rough year last year a bit.
He did.
Exactly. You
He
talking about
did.
Kenyon Green getting bench pressed by the same players
But
that's
look,
scoring
hey, D, you
bench
ain't
press.
alone because you're not alone. I begged us to take Trey Smith, man, from Tennessee when he dropped from the first round down to the sixth. I was calling. I called everybody I could
You
call.
called the president.
I called the president, man. I was screaming. What's his name? Oh shit. I mean everybody from. I mean everybody, dog. The general manager. I even called Rick Smith. I said, hey, do you got these guys' number? Is a dude, Trey Smith. He's dropping. He had some blood clots in his leg as junior year. He overcame it. Nobody wants to draft him. He's going to be good. And they didn't pick him up. If we'd have picked him up, we would have had a right guard right now, and
Mhm.
we wouldn't have had to worry about it.
Yeah.
And
I
you
mean,
could have
we
picked
we
up
just
Shaq, but I,
hey,
I, I like Kenya Green, and I think he's going to do. Now, I will say this. Let's look at what the Eagles did with the picks that we could have used these last two drafts. The year that we was gonna get that we picked up Kenyon Green, a lot of
They got
people said we should have took Jordan Davis.
mm-hmm.
We traded all the picks up to get our guy this year, Will Anderson, which is good. But the Eagles traded away a fourth round pick to move up to number 9, and they got Jalen Carter.
which
So
Mm-hmm.
was
we
the
could,
perfect spot for him.
which is
Yeah.
a perfect spot for him. We could have had Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis right now on our interior D line in exchange for Will Anderson and Kenyon Green. Do you think we won that? I guess it's
Well,
to be determined, right?
you got it's to be determined, and you got to think about it. Jordan Davis had as much of a good season as Kenyon Green had. Jordan
Right.
Davis did not do much of anything with
He
the
was in the
Eagles
training
last year.
room.
He was in the
Yeah.
training room just like Kenyon Green was. So,
Right.
yes, just like Mike has his homerism with John Mechie being roll tide, Kenyon Green is a homerism for me. I'm gonna defend him with my life, like y'all
Mm,
defended Davis Mills. I don't care if I'm
mm,
the only one on this hill. I will
mm.
forever defend Kenyon Green because I've seen Kenyon Green live. I've seen Kenyon Green for years,
And high
for
school, everything.
high school on up. I've seen him, and I know Kenyon what ability that Kenyon Green has and what he's capable of, and he's nowhere near showing his true capabilities. He's been hurt. Like nobody wants to talk about it. Let me say this, man. They gave every excuse in God's Bible book for doggone Davis Mills. Davis Mills was bad for every reason except Davis Mills. Don't sit up here and now that Kenyon Green played bad, everything that Kenyon Green did is bad, and nothing else contributed to Kenyon Green being bad. I don't want to hear none of that. Cause y'all set up there, y'all Mills fans are the main ones that are going ham on Kenyon Green, that hate Kenyon Green. Y'all supported Davis Mills. Y'all ride to the death for Davis Mills, but y'all sit up here and y'all quick to criticize Kenyon Green, and y'all don't want to give no excuses. There's no excuses for Kenyon Green being that bad.
Boy,
None.
you sound like Trump's speaker advisor or whatever
Like,
that lady name
hey, man,
is,
like,
making excuses for his ass.
like
Oh,
that
no,
that
is that
makes
Biden's Trump or what you call it, man? Come on, man. It's
no
all
That's
right, bro.
yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna
yeah.
tell you something. Brandon Cooks went to Oregon State. I could not defend him, bro. I'm
Hey,
sorry, I couldn't defend him. Quentin Tarantino, the
yeah,
tight end, I'm with him 100%, man. Oregon
yeah,
State, them Beavers, go Beavers, man.
yeah.
Shout out
Look,
to
let
the
me
Beavers.
let me say this,
I also went
huh?
to U of H, so I got to defend Tank Dell, man. You wrong about Tank Dell. He gonna shine, bro. He gonna do real good. He gonna come out the gate swinging, and yeah, we in this thing, man. So don't worry. I think Kenyon Green is gonna pick up the pace this year if he can ever
Look,
get his big ass to practice.
hey, if Kenyon Green is just as bad this year as he was last year, then I would be the first one to walk back everything I said in defense of Kenyon Green.
But see,
Kenyon,
last year you used him not having an off season as an
yeah,
excuse. I used
it's
it too.
yeah, it's gonna be part of the excuse because he's not gonna have much of all season this year.
Right,
Hopefully he'll be ready. They don't even know if he'll be ready for training camp, and that's a
right.
concern. And D'Amico Ryans, the comments between D'Amico Ryans and Nick Casario, it's not a full support of Kenyon Green. So Kenyon Green has to prove
Okay.
himself more than anything. Like his status as being a first
Okay.
round.
So question about Kenya Green. What was wrong with him? Did he have a knee injury before they drafted him?
He had knee surgery before they drafted him. And he in the midst of him coming back from the knee surgery, he got a concussion in
I
training camp.
remember that. I remember that.
Then he came in after he recovered from the concussion. He
Yeah.
came into the season and played well.
Okay.
Then he got hurt again.
With the same knee.
I'm not sure. I think it was with the same leg, or maybe it was the other leg. I'm not sure which leg it was. But whatever it
Okay.
was, he got hurt. He missed the game, I think. Then he came back and was still playing on that hurt leg, and that's when you see him getting bum rushed by Dwayne. What's his
Devon
name?
Hargrave,
Deron Payne, and Allen and
the
Washington
entire
and
Washington
Dexter, yeah,
committee.
and all of them and Jeffrey Simmons going ham. That's when you see all of that happen after that. But do I
Okay.
think that if Kenyon Green is fully healthy,
So,
I think,
question:
uh huh,
Is this the same knee that he's having surgery to this year
yeah,
on?
yeah, that he had the scope, he had the scope
Oh,
on
so
it.
they just cleaned his knee up.
Yeah, they just cleaned the knee.
Okay, and so
Yeah,
he's recovering from that.
yeah.
Did
The
why did they
problem
do the
is they
scope?
had, huh?
Did they do the scope as early as they could this offseason?
That's the issue that I'm having, and that's what is not being talked about.
Yeah,
Is when did he have the knee surgery? When he had the
right.
scope? Did he just have the scope like before OTAs? Because if he had it right before OTAs, yeah, he not gonna be ready, almost ready for camp.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why didn't he do it as soon as the season was over, or
I,
better yet,
uh-huh.
while the season was going on?
Well, I think what it is that most doctors want to avoid surgery at all
I got
costs,
you. Yeah.
and they thought that he can heal naturally. But I guess wear and tear and the swelling wasn't going down. King Green was not an injured player, like in
Well,
college at all. He played
it
every
also
game.
shouldn't stop him from lifting weights, though.
Man,
He
King
need to get on
Green,
that bench press and that incline,
it's a
them
lot.
dumbbells.
You right. And what happens is that when God's gifted you the natural born strength and natural born ability to be bigger and stronger than most of your counterparts
Yeah.
your whole life, it comes a reality check when you get into the NFL where everybody is just as strong and just as big
Amen.
as you.
Amen.
I think in A&M, him playing guard, yeah, he went against formidable defensive tackles in the SEC, but most of those guys were not either as big as him or as
Yeah.
strong as him. He
Yeah.
always had an advantage. Maybe not against Alabama, which is why Alabama was one of those good game tapes you want to watch on Kenyon Green as he dominated the Will Andersons and whoever of the world, you
Yeah.
know. But you know, it wasn't a lot of teams that had great defensive tackles
Right.
or big time notable defensive tackles that we can just recall over the last 3 years from any of those SEC schools, which is
Yeah.
weird to say.
Other than Georgia, and they didn't really play him. So
Yeah, they didn't play him. I think he played him once, and he played Jordan Davis, but he didn't play.
Jalen
What's his
Carter,
name? Yeah, he didn't play Carter. Carter wasn't there when A&M played Georgia. I think that was Kenyon Green's rookie. I'm saying rookie, his freshman
freshman.
year when they played Georgia, and yeah, I think Kenyon Green, yeah, he started that game and played. I mean, they almost beat Georgia that game, so he played pretty well, and it
So
was a messy
so
game.
so who who has been playing left guard during camp this year?
Is
It's
it
number
McCray?
63, huh?
Is that McCray?
No, McCray's not on the team. McCray's gone.
Okay.
It's number 63.
Is that
What's his name?
Morrissey?
No,
Morrison?
Morse is gone too. I think.
No, Morrison's still here.
I'm trying to think. I think it's
Might be Dieter.
Yeah,
maybe
Michael Dieter.
whoever 63 is. That's the guy that's been
It's Michael Dieter.
Yes, Dieter.
and Tyler Beach as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
63, 65, those guys have been playing kind of spot filling at left guard. So
I'm also looking at Charlie Heck. You can't get rid of him. I mean, damn, 6'8",
yeah.
6'8", three. That's a big young man.
hmm
Twenty
Yeah, he,
six years old.
yeah, he's a big dude, man. The offensive line is pretty damn big.
Yeah.
What's crazy, everybody is like 6'4" and above. Then I look at Shaq Mason. Shaq Mason 6'1". Yeah,
Shaq
he
Mason is.
yeah,
Oh,
I
Shaq
he
didn't even
is.
realize he was that.
Mason, he's a small guy.
They can't get underneath him.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think they like the big offensive line. Go ahead.
No, it's just for a guard. That's really small.
Yeah,
It
that's
is small.
that's. But
So
you
you figure Jared Patterson is going to be like the swing guard slash
know,
center.
yeah.
So then you would have two more guys, and I guess Charlie Heck would be one.
Well, the crazy part about it is that I think that they consider Titus a swing guard tackle.
Yeah,
I think that they gonna make I think they gonna do that thing where you
Mike said,
know
"Oh my God."
I know I mean I feel
That's
like that's the reason why they
I
not gonna
tell him, man, listen here, man. You can't move me nowhere until you pay me. Don't
yeah.
move. You don't touch. I'm staying right here. Mama
But
said I'm a tackle. Mama said I'm a right tackle. I move to left tackle if you want me to, but Mama said pay me first.
hey,
And get a receipt. Get a receipt too. I need a receipt.
I think we're gonna have the two tackles. Like we're gonna have two backup tackles and a guard center hybrid or whatever that'll round out your eight. I think the
So
two
that's
tackles.
Charlie Heck.
It's look Charlie Heck, Deculus, and Little. That's gonna be a battle.
Oh, I
Little,
forgot about Little again.
Little is only 25 years old.
Is
How
he
did you
good
forget
enough?
about him? You brought him up twice.
Right.
Every time I bring him up, I forget about him.
But see,
I literally
Deculus,
do.
I don't know how good Deculus really is or how much
Mhm,
he's progressed since we drafted him, but he does have positional versatility. So
Yeah,
like
mhm.
he
he can
does.
be a swing tackle and a swing
Hard
guard.
guard.
So
Yeah.
that does help him.
Mm-hmm.
What about that other dude with that great name,
Who?
Death Rage?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. I think they just signed somebody, man. He got a
Yeah,
cool.
it's a
Just for the
sign.
name.
Yeah, ain't nobody paying. I mean, let's keep it real, man.
Yeah.
Deathridge is gonna be nowhere near this on
He
53 round.
he might be on that old practice ski
He
wall.
could be practice
Could
squad.
be,
Practice
but
squad.
yeah. Mike, do you have any more? Did we touch on almost all of them?
I
You
hate
maybe-
to as we get close to the end. I hate to end like on a negative point, but man, Scruggs and Patterson were like two of the three or four guys that I just did not like at all at the Senior Bowl. The other one was Andre Carter who didn't get drafted. So
Wow.
I hope I am dead wrong about Scruggs and
Patterson.
and wanting to throw my phone as we're on a space live when we take Scruggs. Um,
You
yeah,
can
I
blame
know
that.
the potential's there, and I know he checked that box that all but one of our picks did, which is hey, he was a team captain in college, so got that leadership. I mean, maybe all those team captains were brought in to handle the obstacle of dealing with D Hop. So
Well, you got to have 22 captains to call the coin toss at the beginning of the game. Who else is gonna call the right call? We better get the kick every time.
it's about to be wild, man. But
Jeez,
other
I'm
than
with you, Mike. Like that goes back to the goddamn trade, man. That's and I don't even
hey,
want to bring that up. So
yeah, let's not
that's
open the can.
why that is why we had to take Scruggs right there.
Yeah, let's not open that can.
Yeah.
It ended on a high note. JJ Watt is going into the ring of honor. The Texans had their mini camp. They about to preparing. They about to take their little break, and then they about to prepare for training camp. Come the end of July, August. So everybody be prepared. Everybody get ready. Y'all check out the Rockets podcast. H Town Rundown Rockets podcast coming soon. Rockets are about to have an NBA draft this week upcoming. So there's a lot to talk about with the Houston Rockets. But yeah, man, we of course we never run out of things to talk about with the Houston Texans. We all have more and more topics that we're going to talk about. If y'all have any suggestions, y'all drop them down in the comments. Y'all drop them. Y'all hit us up on Twitter. or Instagram. Y'all see all our ads at the bottom. The H Time Rundown, mine. You see Mike G's. You see Chris Roy. You even see Jules as well. Y'all hit us up. Let us know. Y'all click that notification button so y'all always be hip to whenever we're posting an episode. And you know, like and subscribe. And share it. Let everybody
Yeah,
know what's going
yeah.
on, man.
What are you
Like and
waiting on?
subscribe.
Yeah, y'all,
Hey,
y'all
can I
see that
send a
button right
shout out
there?
to somebody?
Go ahead, Chris. Go
I
ahead.
want to send a shout out to DJ for getting to the town hall meeting extra early and wearing that fabulous jacket that he had on. I heard you. I heard you sat so close to the microphone, it was on your table. I heard you was the first one to get in line over there
Hey,
and grab that
uh oh.
microphone. Shout out to Jules, man. I hope your baby doing all right over there, man. Everything's good with him. Jules, I heard you was at the town hall meeting and had a plate that was bigger than the goddamn Astrodome. Yeah, I heard you had. I know it's all you can eat, but you're not supposed to eat all of it. Come on now, Jules. Shout out to you, Jules. I guess when you cut that goatee down, it's just more room to put the food in. Yeah, Jules, we feel you, baby. Shout out to Big Sarge, man. Sarge, bro, you better not buy that damn Bud Light hat. Wear that Bud Light hat, man. You're gonna have people talking about you. Keep giving us all the good content, man, because you're the only one that go in there and see what they're doing at practice and share the stuff back with us. Who else to shout out, man? Who y'all want to shout out to, man?
Look. I'm gonna shout. This is my list of shout outs, man. We're gonna shout out the Texan
Yeah,
fan battle. We're gonna shout out VT and the Texan fan battle. We're gonna shout out Harley
VT
Dubin
and Texas fan
and
battle,
Ruben.
Mike.
We're
What's
gonna
up,
shout out.
Matt?
We're gonna
What's up,
shout out.
Samantha? What's up, you guys?
We're gonna shout out Ruben and Harley with the lead and their podcast.
Ruben.
We're gonna shout out, the a few more
Harley.
guys. Yeah. Uh, just those of note. They've been putting out consistent podcasts and information. Shout out to the Texan fan, but they've been having guests after guests after guests.
Yeah,
They
baby.
consistently. I think they've run the gauntlet. They got Ron Hughley coming up next.
That's
On
right.
this week's podcast. So I mean, they've run the gauntlet on 610 hosts. I think every host that operates on 610 has been on their podcast. So shout out to them. And one note before we go, the H Town Rundown is giving a ticket giveaway. I
Ticket
put it on.
giveaway.
There is, if you go to the H Town Rundown Twitter, there is a poll to see which games that we got 3 games that we're gonna
Not
see.
one of them kind of polls.
No, not a Noah poll, not a
No,
Noah
yeah, no, not one of them polls. No,
poll, but
another poll.
shout out to Noah, man. Not one of them polls, but we're gonna talk about a poll to vote on which game you would like to be able to go to
To go
in
to.
the ticket free free
Yeah,
ticket
we
giveaway.
just getting started, so we sending y'all ass to the preseason game. Ah! You
Hey,
don't get no regular season game until the views get up. Once the views get up, then we're gonna send you to
hey,
a real game, bro.
hey,
That's
I
what we
want
doing.
y'all. Oh, also I want to shout out the Just Fans podcast, man.
Just fans.
Yes.
Yeah, with Carlos and Rios over there,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Them guys doing their damn thing.
Yes, sir.
So they talk about everything, man. Hell, they doing wrestling right now. So I'm like, shit. Shout out to them, man. Those guys are on it, man. But go ahead. I think the 3 games are the Colts, the Saints, and the Browns on the Christmas Eve game. Of course, Houston, Deshaun Watson, people gonna want to scavenge it for the Browns, but don't negate the Colts game. It's gonna be the first home game you actually gonna be able to see CJ Stroud for the first time at
Mm.
home.
Yeah,
You know, don't negate the
that's
the
right.
Saints game. Everybody knows the Saints is a big time. We always it's so
Yeah,
many Saints fans in Houston. You want to be
right.
able to go in there and the Texans beat the Saints ass, and you can talk your shit in front
That's
of them
right.
and
That's right.
it's always a good time with the Saints. So every game we always play is always a competitive game. So that's a very good game, and especially
Mm-hmm.
those people that have family that's Saints fans. If y'all aren't able to go, you can gift those tickets to those Saints fans, and earn some brownie points for some people. So don't negate those other two games, even though a lot of Texan fans want to go to the Browns game. I think all three games are very, very intriguing games. So y'all go ahead and vote down in the poll, and then we'll have a little contest rules or whatever whenever y'all finish that poll, and we'll pick it out and we'll have y'all go ahead and enter that contest to win those two tickets, man. So
Yeah.
other than that, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Go ahead and for real, like, share, and subscribe. We on the verge of 200 subscribers. We right at the edge. I think we at 195. Y'all can go ahead and tell your mama, your cousin, your neighbor, tell your daddy.
Yeah.
On Father's
Happy
Day.
Father's Day, man. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
So once
I the
again,
baby pappy, boss.
happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and also happy Juneteenth. Let's not forget that. And
They
everybody,
forgot it. Why we can't forget
so,
it?
hey, but other than that, man, this has been a good episode, a great episode. This is your boy AD signing off. We got Mike G and we got C Royal in the building, man. We appreciate y'all and we thank y'all, and we'll holler at y'all on the next episode, man. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.